Welcome. I'm Rob Smith, the CEO and founder of Lionfish. Some of you know me, some of you know me for decades. But in case you don't know who I am, I'll give you a 30-second background about my history. In the late 90s, I was fortunate enough to work for Jay Chaudhry's first startup, Secure IT, which was acquired by VeriSign. I then moved to Europe and started Europe's first dedicated MSSP. And the thing I'm most proud of in my career is that MSSP put a public reference from the United Nations on my LinkedIn that says they were never successfully hacked on my watch. Doesn't really get better than that. 25 years later, the UM is still a client of my former MSSP. I just don't own them anymore. And when I sold off my company and my mobile security company, well, those who can't do teach, and I became a Gartner analyst. Did that for 8 years, became very bored and very fed up, and really decided things could be done differently. And so I founded Lionfish just as my personal hobby company to help IT companies be better. And very quickly, I had more work than I could handle, and we're now over 30 former Gartner analysts today, 3.5 years later. So, sounds good, but this business model isn't really scalable because in the end of the day, there's 30 of us, not 3,000 like Gartner has. So we had this idea about 2.5 years ago. How could we scale the business and yet take it to a different level and do things someone wasn't doing before? Well, the number one thing everybody needs is intel. And if you're an end user, you want to know how good is a company? How stable is it? How's their product? How's it compare feature-wise? Does it meet your needs? Is it worth spending my $2 million on the contract? As opposed to if you're a vendor, you want to know how good are you compared to competition, how well it stands up, feature-wise, and more importantly, what about features for tomorrow? Are you set and prepared to beat the competition? This is what people need. But where do you get the information? Well, first off, if you look on the web, you'll get overloaded. There's so much data. It's there. It sucks your time. And more importantly, who has resources? In the end of the day, I think every product marketing person is doing about 5 jobs anymore. And if they're only doing 5, then they're lazy. So it really comes down to you need help. And what we're talking about here is Lionfish isn't doing anything truly unique that you couldn't do if you invested significant amount of time. But you don't have the time, and we do things for you a lot faster. That's what the aquarium does. Meet the aquarium. And so, first off and foremost, it's designed to reclaim your time so that you can focus on what you need to do that is making your business successful, not ticking a bunch of marketing boxes. Now, how do we do it? Well, we use AI to collect data from over 200 sources. The problem is AI is unreliable. If you've ever played with a competitive intel tool, you'll see that about, 90% of it's accurate at best. And that's being generous. And really, 1 out of 500 is a major mistake, something that if you put out there, you'd be fired for. And if you're interested in one of my stories about that, catch me later. I have a funny story around candy. So, one of the key things, though, is everybody's proprietary data. So you want to be able to train the AI on your own information. And we have the ability to do that. But if you look at analyst firms and how they rate, there's a tremendous amount of analyst bias. And so what if you could remove the analyst bias from the picture? Namely, what if everybody was scored equally and fairly? So if you take 20 Gartner analysts and you say, hey, let's come up with a rating system. This doesn't happen overnight. funny, Gartner analysts debate and debate and debate. But eventually we got there. And they came up with the name Sonar Score. Don't hold it against me. So what Sonar Score is 52 different set variables where every vendor and every product is scored identically. We adjust the weighting per market because things like social media may not matter in one market or another one it matters a lot more. But all products are scored the same. Nobody's done this before. And more importantly, for the market themselves, you can add in market-specific questions or data. That is, for example, antivirus. Say I care about XDR, or say I care about MDR, or any particular variable I also want to score on rating. So if you're an end user, it's perfect because you can say, these are the features I care most about, who's best and who's most stable. If you're a vendor, you can say, this is how we do great and this is how we do poorly, and so this is how we need to adjust our product roadmap. So it's truly detailed product analysis. First and foremost, we give you a product summary. Then we give you latest news about the company, the market, blah, blah. Now, anybody who's looked and talked to an analyst firm loves to get SWOTs. The problem with SWOTs is they're out of date very, very quickly. Well, you can have a real-time SWOT anytime you like now. If you need it tomorrow, you can have it tomorrow using all data. Data that you've trained the AI on, data that is proprietary, and data that is public, and data that has been used from lionfish scoring, from a lionfish advisor. And so you can know exactly how each score is calculated and how well you do. And you can also do head-to-head comparison. You can do detailed descriptions of scores, why everything is a certain way. Perfect for matching up, perfect for understanding how you position. And you can do this for any market we cover. And we cover pretty much all of IT. Now, that's great, but doesn't make me money. What makes me money is battle cards. Now, if you try and generate a battle card yourself, it'll take about 10 days to do one battle card for one product. You'll go back and forth, you'll debate. In the end of the day, it's a serious amount of effort just to generate one. However, what if you could now do battle cards by job function? So you have specific targeted messaging for the CEO, for the CISO, for the CFO, for anybody you're trying to sell to. You now have targeted battle cards just for them. And by the way, it takes about 30 seconds to generate. First one, you get a product overview. Then you get how you're the same with the competition. Then you get how you're different. Then you get how we position. How should we be selling this product? Then why we're winning. Or how about why we're losing? What's our value prop? Now, this is my favorite. This is courtesy of that man right there. Trap setting questions. How to trap the client into buying. Very useful. And last but not least, my favorite, objection handling. Well, why aren't you buying us? Let me give you the reason you should be buying us. Take all this in 30 seconds. Then, guess what? Automatically upload it to Salesforce. Your salespeople only see the latest battle card, and they see you versus product X for CEO, for CFO, for whatever it may be, right away. And you want something fun? Look how the competition views you. CrowdStrike. Seems high compared to our current solution. Anybody who's looked at CrowdStrike would say that's going to be the number one objection for finance. And by the way, this is a CFO card where the previous one was a CISO card. So you can see the messaging is targeted based on the audience. Nobody's doing this. You could do it yourself. Do you have the man hours? you're the time. And speaking of man hours and time, we give you a market asset generator to create a bunch of fun things that you need in your daily life. Now, this isn't perfect. It's designed to give you a starting point. It's a collection of tools, be it a white paper, a buyer's guide, an RFI, or perhaps a blog post. So, you need to know Mark Harris. Mark Harris was product manager at Sophos. So I wanted to pick on Sophos. So it's real easy. I just put in AI as a threat hunting tool. Nothing else. And the name of the product and the market. That's it. Oh, and the blog post. Click the button. The aquarium does its magic. Bam. Here is a blog post that you could use almost out of the box with like 10, 20 minutes worth of editing at most. I mean, it's quite accurate. AI is a game changer in threat hunting. It's very focused, very targeted, and very on point. And by the way, one more thing. You know where we are. I actually saw him pitch. I was in the room the time Steve told off the world because the iPhone didn't work. But I learned the lesson. You save the best feature for last. And this feature, if you're an AR person, you're going to love it. How many hours have you wasted as analyst relations during bloody surveys? You missed a few of us there. You know, Brad is working on 6 at the moment for one client. I just did another one for a client. However, you know, Forrester is even worse. It's double the amount of time just because of the length. So what if you could have a friend, your new best friend forever, that cut your time to complete surveys today by 80%. This is version 1. We're getting better and adding to this every day. We're learning as we do more surveys with this. We've done 7 so far. We're doing more 80% of the time. It simplifies complex answers. And this is the killer. Any marketing speak, analysts hate marketing speak. So what if we take your marketing speak and we make it analyst speak automatically? So it improves the quality of the answers. And much to my surprise, somebody already asked to buy it standalone. I thought, oh, well, it's just a feature in the aquarium. Well, you can also buy this on its own now. And it's available today. And it's not perfect, but it gets you there. It gets you, and if you're not happy, you regenerate the answer and you have a new one in 20 seconds. So let's take a fast look at that. You pick the market, you select the vendor, the product, you enter the question from the survey, you enter in last year's response if you have one. I happen to have been doing the Firewall Magic Quadrant, and so there wasn't a last year's response, but what there was a draft answer from the vendor, so I could use that. And then any changes you want to highlight, like, oh, we now have an AI feature. And then this is the crazy thing. Enter the word or character limit. Now, anybody who's tried to write a Gartner answer for 300 characters or less knows you'll go nuts. Well, I've learned AI can't count. We're still trying to figure this out, but the AI hallucinates and says, here's your 254 character answer, and then it'll be 480 characters. So it's not perfect, but I can tell you the time saving is real. And so I just picked something random with no background whatsoever. I picked S1, and I said, what's your roadmap for XDR? That's all I typed. And bam, this is the answer you got. And honestly, as a Gartner analyst, I'd be happy with that answer. It doesn't need any tweaking, any modification, just out of the box. And obviously, you can edit the answers, or you could hit regenerate 2 or 3 times till you get the answer you want. which is exactly what I was doing with the firewall survey. But we're getting better. We're learning. For example, the firewall survey had 3-part questions. So we're now working on how to solve a 3-part question. But it's there. And nobody has anything like this. I don't like surveys. It's just a fact of life. We all have to live with it. So why waste your time? So just to recap, it's designed to give you your time back. That's what the aquarium's built for. We do AI collection from over 200 sources. It can be trained on your own data, which everything is multi-tenanted, so you have your own tenant and the data is isolated. It's all verified by us. Our unique thing here is that you have a former Gartner analyst, a specialist in your market, vetting your data to make sure everything is correct. It's ideal for sales, for the battle cards, for product management to do roadmap planning, product analysis, for product marketing, for messaging and asset generation, because I hate writing blog posts. Analyst relations, well, product positioning, sure, but the survey response to me is our killer feature. And end users, product purchase decisions. Which MDR vendor is best? And last but not least, investment community. What's your opportunity? Who should you be investing in? Who has potential? And of course, it's available today.